Hi everyone, and welcome to this video for Auction Not Included, which is all about the new Aquatic Planet Pack DLC. In this video, I'm going to cover the most important content included with this pack, and my thoughts on if it's worth getting. Starting off, like the other DLCs before this one, the Aquatic Planet Pack is different to the Spaced Out DLC, which was the first to be released. The Spaced Out DLC, as I covered in its own video, is really like a slightly different version of the game. Because it adds and reworks key mechanics, a save file made in either the base game or the Spaced Out DLC cannot be loaded in the other. The Aquatic Planet Pack, like the Frosty Planet and Prehistoric Planet Packs before it, can be enabled or disabled on either of these two main versions. But it is fair to say that the Aquatic Planet Pack is by far the biggest DLC since the Spaced Out DLC. So looking at what's included in this pack, there are a lot of things. Of course, as in the name, the main addition is an aquatic, water-themed planet, called the Marinea asteroidal cluster. This naturally comes with a lot of water and fish-themed biomes, plants and critters. Also, like the other DLCs, if you want to still use an existing asteroidal cluster start, you have the option to scramble the Aquatic Planet Pack or any of the others that you own into these maps by toggling them in the world settings. These new biomes will then get mixed into the old maps, giving you access to the new content without the dedicated aquatic start. Going into a Marinea start, you can also find one new dupe, Kai, who has blonde hair and fits right at home in the water. Onto the map, as another planet pack, we again have a brand new start in Marinea with a really cool background. The starting biome, the beach biome, is on the warmer side at around 30 degrees Celsius and is quite different to any of the previous starts. There are some familiar elements of dirt, algae and sandstone, but in smaller amounts. Here, siltstone is the main mineral to build with, and the metal ore is a new material, zinc ore. There is also sulfur and salt found around this biome, including in new natural backwall tiles which can be dug up. Oxygen for this start is made from algae in oxygen diffusers, or from water in electrolyzers, or from some of the new plants and critters. On that topic, this biome and the other 3 new biomes all have a lot of brand new critters and plants. In total there are a huge 13 new plants and 7 new critters, which is double the amount in the Frosty Planet Pack, for example. And as per usual, I will quickly cover what they are here, and plan to have more dedicated tutorial bites for each one. Starting in the beach biome then, mussel sprouts are this biome's muckroot, but once harvested they do start to spoil. And Husha caps are a new decorative plant. Sodicane is the only food plant to be found in this biome, and takes in salt to make salt sticks. But eating these comes with a new debuff called Thirsty. Gum palms are the last new plant in this biome and are a type of tree that gives gumwood. This wood can be used like normal wood or can be turned into the new materials latex and then rubber, which is similar to plastic and can be used in many buildings that used to only use plastic. But as a quick note here, buildings that needed plastic as a secondary material, or now rubber, now instead need a new item called a rubber gasket or plastic gasket, which must be made in the crafting station first. This affects a few buildings, both with and without the DLC, but perhaps most commonly includes steam turbines and high pressure gas vents. Last up in the beach biome is the Slogo, a small snail-like critter that eats salt and excretes dirt, and releases a new liquid mucin, which can make polluted water or brackine, and drops meat and shells, which can be turned into lime. Moving on to the second and my favourite biome, the Reef biome comes with a lot of salt water, which you will now notice is not grey anymore, but instead is now blue with salty bubbles, and is also the home to a lot of new elements, plants and critters. Here there's the familiar sand, phosphorite and zinc ore, plus 2 new raw minerals of coquina and corallium. Coquina can be used for building, or fed to hatches, or to the new starfish wall plant, Starnacles. And similarly, corallium is also a building material, and can be fed to sage hatches, or crushed for lime. For plants then, Starnacles, as I mentioned, are fertilised with coquina and make phosphorite, or can be eaten by a new critter, Beakons. The Starnacles have to grow on natural backwall tiles if wild, or can be farmed domestically in the new wall planter building. Plus there are also Petta Poufs here, which are a second decorative plant. Then the other 2 plants here are Flue corals and Clampums. These are both large plants that if grown domestically need to be put in the new wide hydroponic farm building, also like gum palms. Flue corals make oxygen when they have a light source, which could be regular ceiling lamps, or one of the new buildings of the underwater glass jelly ceiling light, or from nearby beacons. Grown domestically, they also need lime and salt water as fertilizer. Clampums instead grow pearl, which is another new material and a substitute for glass in building costs. Or pearl can be fed to seaquine critters, and domestically they need sand to grow. For critters then, there are pacu and sani shells around here, along with the 3 new types. Beakons are small fish that give off light and eat phosphorite or starnacles to make lime. Seaquines are a new seahorse critter that eats pearl to make slime and can also be milked in the milking station to make a new liquid, overline. Overline can be turned into brackwax when heated, or in the gleaner building can make mucin, carbon dioxide and caviar. Caviar is not a new type of food, but is a condiment like the existing table salt, so dupes can use this at mess tables to get an extra +2 morale boost. Lastly here are the bloaters, another small fish that eats waterweed or lettuce and gives off oxygen. So between bloaters and flue corals, there are additional ways to make oxygen for your base. But before moving on, there are also new tidal springs in reef biomes too. These simply suck in and then put back out any liquid around them at a quick rate of 500 kilograms per second. And when putting the liquid out, you can get power from these with a new tidal turbine building, giving 300 watts, which is very useful in the early game. Next up for biomes is the kelp forest biome, which unsurprisingly come with large tower kelp plants in polluted water. Like mimica buds, each growth cycle, each branch of the tower kelp matures into a kelpole, a little green leafy tadpole. These only live for 5 cycles, after which they become a new food ingredient, nori. That is if they don't get eaten by the critter in this biome, the Orehulls. These are turtle-like critters that live off the kelpole or nori and excrete polluted mud, which can then be separated in the sludge press to make polluted water and polluted dirt. These are the fertilizer for the tower kelp, making a cycle, but extra polluted dirt is needed as an input here. On death, Orehulls drop quite a lot of raw shellfish, plus they can be sheared for iron ore, giving a new sustainable source of metal ore, which is always welcome. And the final biome is the dark and mysterious abyss biome, typically found towards the bottom of the map. Filled with a new black, polluted brine liquid, this is a combination of polluted water and brine and can be separated by boiling or desalinating. There's also large amounts of diamond here, which is quite useful, as well as another new metal ore, galena. This is a lead ore and gives refined lead and some sulfur when heated, crushed or used in the metal refinery. Basalt, another new mineral, forms natural backwall tiles in this biome too. 3 new plants live in this dark biome, with Tublias that take sulfur and brine or polluted brine and directly make plastic, or are eaten by glow squids. Pinpokets grow on the background tiles and use refined carbon to make pinpocky, another food ingredient that can also be crushed in the rock crusher to make diamond. And the last new plant to cover is the decorative Bulbloom, which gives off small amounts of light in these dark depths. For the critters here, the glow squid lives in these depths and are obviously squids. They eat the Tublias as I mentioned and excrete abyssalite, giving a new renewable source. On death, they drop calamari, which can be eaten raw or cooked, and the squids can be milked for squid ink. Squid ink is a mixture of mucin and refined carbon and can also be used directly in the critter fountain, which is very useful now. And not technically a different critter, but a morph of the Slogo, Glidgos live down here too. Very similar to the Slogos, these snail shells can be crushed down for gold amalgam, giving another renewable metal ore source, which is very nice. Before we move off the new biomes, abyss biomes come with thermal gas fissures too. These give off natural gas until they build up and get blocked with sulfur. To remove the sulfur, you have to have a powered marine drill with some diamond to clear them when this happens, but is overall quite useful. Now this pack isn't just new biomes, plants and critters like the other planet packs, but does also include quite a few new other things too. Perhaps the most surprising is that dupes can now swim. That means they can now pass through all liquids if they have the swimming skill, making early movement a lot quicker and easier as long as they don't get trapped. Ranching has also had some huge changes in all versions of the game. For the Aquatic Planet Pack, a new aquatic grooming station, shearing station and milking station have been added. These hang on back wall, either natural or drywall tiles, and enable grooming of aquatic critters like the land ones, meaning the feeder no longer domesticates wild fish. These buildings have to be in a stable room to work, so 96 tiles or less, but the aquatic critters get cramped based on the size of the liquid pool they are in. In all versions of the game, critter reproduction has been massively changed. Critters no longer have a fixed reproduction rate if happy, but now reproduce more quickly the happier they are. So firstly, that means that all of the maths from my critter tutorial bites is now out of date, and it is now much harder to calculate how much output a ranch gets. But this makes critters a lot more powerful, and as an example with hatches, a groomed fed hatch with a critter condo and fountain now has an almost 40% reproduction rate per cycle. That is almost 2.5 times quicker than before, so you can now get so much more output from the same number of critters. Of course, to do this, we do need a critter condo or aquatic critter condo, and the critter fountain or aquatic critter fountain. As both of these buildings now add happiness, they boost reproduction, and in the case of the critter condo, basically for free. So this becomes a must include in all ranches, in my opinion. Critter fountains are more difficult to use, as a source of bracken or squid ink is needed to keep them running. But if you can do this, then these are now even more powerful too. Continuing on with new buildings, insulated wires have now finally been added to the game. These allow 4 kilowatts of power without overloading, making them actually fit the large transformer. Building these needs plastic or rubber, but not in large amounts, so these wires are very useful. Another change is in the tepodizer building for heating. This has long been a very powerful way to heat in the game, but to go over 85 degrees Celsius needed a quick automation pulsing exploit. But it seems that the exploit has now been patched out and no longer works, but instead a turbo mode has been added. This draws a huge 4 kilowatts, but can go to any temperature the tepodizer can manage before overheating. Just to know though, it will need to stay submerged, so a second liquid is needed to boil a primary liquid, for example water. The last new building to touch on is the sushi bar, a new food preparation station with 4 Japanese themed recipes. The first is edamame with good quality, made from nosh beans and salty sticks. Second is sushi rolls made from rice loaf, nori and fish fillet, giving a great quality food. Third is nigiri made from rice loaf, nori and calamari from the glow squids to give a top tier superb food. And finally, uni is an efficient food made from harvested pinpoke. Getting towards the end now, there is also one new achievement with this DLC with the Better Together imperative. A small spoiler alert for this section, as to unlock this achievement means giving 3 different items to a mysterious duplicant, found in the 3 non-starting biomes. Firstly, this is Pearl in the Reef biome, then sushi rolls in the Kelp forest biome, and finally caviar in the Abyss biome. Doing all 3 of these gives you access to this new duplicant, Minnow, who has the free diver trait, making them exceptional in watery areas, which is quite useful here. Finally then, of course as a new DLC pack, this also comes with new cosmetics. You may not be entirely surprised to find out that they are aquatic themed, with a wide range of new clothes and Atmo suits, many new buildings, a whole load of wallpapers, and some artwork too. But having covered the main points of the new content, the really important question is the Aquatic Planet Pack worth getting? As always, this will depend on your personal situation, and my opinion is still similar to before. If you've never played Oxygen Not Included and are thinking about getting DLCs too, then my advice is still to just get the base game and see if you enjoy it. If you have played the base game and enjoy it and are choosing between DLCs, then my recommendation here is to get the Spaced Out DLC first. Although it is a bit more expensive, it brings more significant changes and to me is overall the best value for money. Then if you already own both the base game and Spaced Out, I think this DLC is quite clearly of higher quality and with a lot more new content compared to the other DLC packs. The art is really cool, and the changes with the swimming and water theme do give quite a different feel to all the other starts, so it's quite unique. Quite simply, it's a lot of fun, and definitely worth it as it gives a new take on the game. And that's all I have to cover, so I hope this has helped you understand what is in the Aquatic Planet Pack DLC, and if you do decide to get it, then I hope you enjoy all the new watery content to add to your base, and thanks for watching.